renumber the whole document accordingly. Here, 3 section commands are used for first, second, and third sections. Subsection commands will generate respective counters according to its hierarchy in the document. Sections can be numbered as you've seen in the previous slide. Apart from this, LaTeX supports unnumbered sections too. For this, you need to use starred version of section command, that is /section star. You've already seen that LaTeX generates counters automatically. It also provides the feature to cross-ref these counters in the body part. Label ref mechanism is used for this purpose. It helps us to refer any numbered sections in any part of the document, including body or captions of figures and tables, or even inside the map part. A detailed session on label ref mechanism will be telecasted later. Now, we are moving on to lists. Research scholars often want to present information in a clear and concise fashion. By listing the contents in short, they achieve this clarity. Lists help you to keep your concepts organized and structured. Basically, there are 2 lists, namely ordered and unordered. A third one, that is descriptive list, is also used. LaTeX supports all these types of lists. For coding them, we are using enumerate, itemize, description, and environments. In all list types, each items in the list are separated by an item command. Item command will automatically generate the counter or symbol to denote each item. Ordered lists are simply known as the numbered lists. That is, they are either numbered numerically or alphabetically. For numeric lists, Arabic and Roman numerals are used. In the case of alphabet lists, both lowercase and uppercase letters are used. Now, moving on to the coding of numbered or ordered lists, enumerate environment is used here. Here, you can see the enumerate environment is loaded with a /begin command and ends with a /end command. The list items are enclosed inside the enumerate environment, and each item is separated by a /item command followed by a space. The output is also shown here. While comparing to the ordered list, unordered list will not have a sequence or specific order. Instead of numbers, here some symbols are used to denote each item. And the most popular unordered list is the bulleted list. In the previous slide, you heard about the enumerate environment to code ordered lists. To code an unordered list, we are using itemize environment. The syntax is same as enumerate environment, and the only difference is the environment name. That is, itemize is used along with the /begin and /end commands. See, a bullet is prefixed with each item in the output. You can replace the bullet with any other symbols available in LaTeX. A detailed documentation in this topic can be seen in the LaTeX primer. Now, let us have some basic idea about the descriptive list. Sometimes researchers may not need number or symbol to denote list items. Rather, they prefer some specific string as the item identifier. This may come with or without a specific sequence or order. Here, descriptive lists come to our help. An optional argument along with the /item command will produce the result you need. Look at the codes here. Description environment is used for this purpose. Coding method is the same as enumerate and itemize. That is, description is used along with begin and end commands. The major change, you can see the optional argument used along with the /item command. The optional argument is enclosed inside a square bracket. See the output. Here, the string given as optional argument is prefixed with each item. Now, we are moving on to floats. What are the floats? Any element in a document that cannot be broken over a page is called floats. Common floats in a document are figures and tables. While preparing a normal document, we cannot control the appearance of a figure or table. Sometimes we can place them where we want to do so. But if your reference for a figure appeared at the end of the page, and if you are trying to place the figure there, the page area will not permit to do so. So, floats are normally placed at the top or bottom of the page rather than the position where they have mentioned in the text. Floats are not considered as the normal stream of the text, but they are separate entities and placed at the best position in a page. Normal position of the floats are top or bottom, but it can be placed at left or right, wherever the designer opts. To do so, some placement specifiers are used in later. These placement specifiers are used along with this /begin command as an optional argument. This table shows the placement specifiers available in later. X is used to place the float in approximate current position. T is used to place the float at the top of the page. B will place the float at the bottom of the page. P place the float in a special page. An exclamation mark will override the internal parameters and uses to determine the best position for the float. A capital H will place the float at the precise position. Let us know how to insert a figure in the document. It is very important to upload or copy the image in the correct location before your coding starts. Figure environment is used to load the figures into the LaTeX document. Syntax is given below. Here, you can see the figure environment is initiated with a /begin command and a placement specifier used in the square brackets. Include graphics is used to load the images to the current location. You have to clarify or clearly specify the location of the image here. Here, image.png is loaded in the same location of the main text file, so current path is used. Include graphics has an optional argument here. It is used to adjust the width of the image. Here, the width of the image is reduced to the 30% of the total text width. Caption command is used to code the caption of the figure. The position of include graphics and caption are interchangeable so that you can change the position of the figure and its caption in the output. Next, we are moving on to the table coding. Table and tabular environments used altogether to code a neat table in LaTeX document. See the syntax here. As in the figure coding, placement specifier is used along with the /begin table command. Tabular environment is used inside the table environment. It has one more argument which specifies the alignment of each column. Here, center alignment is applied for 3 columns. You can use C for center, L for left, or R for right alignment. Each row in the table is coded in a single line. Every column is separated by an ampersand symbol. And the row breaks are applied by a return, that is a double backslash symbol. You can see a sample table coding in the next slide. See the code here. 3 columns are used. Center alignment is used for the first column. and left alignment for the second and third columns. See the pipe symbol used in between alignment specifiers in the tabular environment. It is used to draw a line on the left and the right side of this table and in between columns. Also, see the three H lines used. First H line, draw a line at the top of the table. Second H line, draw another line after the column headings. And the last H line, draw another line at the bottom of the table. This pipe symbol and H line altogether creates borders for the whole table. This can be seen in the output shown in the next slide. Next is about mathematical statements. As a research scholar, many of you know that a number of terms for mathematical statements exist. Normally, these terms indicates the role the statements play in a selected topic. Generally, these statements are labeled as enunciations. All researchers want to treat the enunciations separated from the rest of the text part. They need a special attention for these statements. Also, they may need sequential numbers for them. Before moving on to the coding of the enunciations, see the list of some common enunciations like theorem, lemma, corollary, proposition, definition, remark, hypothesis, proof, etc. Enunciations can be treated as numbered or unnumbered. Also, it may have italic or Roman font styles. In the next two slides, we are dealing with coding of enunciations. By default, LaTeX load many common enunciations like theorem, lemma, definition, etc. But if you need more type of enunciations, it is better to load AMS-THM package in the preamble. The command to load AMS-THM package is use package AMS-THM. Here, we have shown the coding of a theorem. See the enunciation name and its counter, same as bold Roman. And the enunciation text is given as italic. For this, we have to load the theorem style by /new theorem command. /new theorem command has two arguments. The first argument is the environment name, and the second argument is the enunciation name, which will be printed in the document. Enunciation numbers will be generated automatically, and needless to say, these counters can be cross-referenced in the text part by using the label ref mechanism of LaTeX. If any enunciation needed to be unnumbered, it is possible by /new theorem star. If you need to print some of your enunciations as italic and other as Roman, it is also possible in LaTeX. For this, theorem style command is used. If you use /theorem style theorem command before the enunciation code, the output will be produced in italic style. If the theorem style definition is used, then the output will be Roman style, that is straight fonts. Here is an example. Definition 1 is given as Roman style. If you look at the syntax, theorem style definition is used before new theorem command. With this slide, we have come to the end of this presentation. Hope that you have enjoyed this session. If you need a more detailed documentation of these topics, our LaTeX primer will be useful. You can download the primer from the following link: http://books.cyanna.org/en/pdf/primer.pdf. Thank you.
Hello, Ravi.
Yes, sir.
I think.
Playing the next one.
Thank you.
If there are any questions that needs to be answered, we can do that also.
Private limited.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to discuss
Or we'll complete this and then come back.
mathematics using
We
Latex.
may see.
Shall we take questions now?
We can, if they are there.
In the previous topic, if there are questions, we can take them also.
Any questions since morning?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Just checking, sir.
Maybe after this.
So all these sessions are very important because the first session was about the head part, and now Siddharthan has explained about body. So all of these things are important. So this is what are the entire structure of a tech document.
No, mathematics is even much more important for all flying tests. You want to go ahead, Ravi?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
There's one question that has come, sir. How will the symbols be introduced in LaTeX?
That's what it is. This presentation is about that.
Mathematics using LaTeX. This is the next presentation. Okay, sir. I'm playing this next one then.
Hi everyone, I am Abhilash from STM Software Engineering Private Limited. Here, I am going to discuss about how to typeset mathematics using LaTeX. Math part in an article can be mainly classified into two parts. First part is inline equation and the second is display equations. The first part, inline equation. The math terms occurring in running text is called inline math or inline equations. In tech, we can express the inline math in three ways. Opening and closing symbols as dollar and the slash, and this is opening, closing, and begin math and end math. In math mode, the upper and lower alphabets will appear in italic font, since all the variables are in italic in mathematics. Here is the tech code. The three syntax will produce same output as below. Moving on to the second part, display equations. Display equations can be mainly classified into two parts, single line display equations and multiple line display equations. We can check the first part, single line display equations. It can be mainly split into two, unnumbered display equations and numbered display equation in a single line. You can see the syntax and compare the syntax with inline equations. Dollar has been changed to double dollar and slash parenthesis has been changed to slash square bracket. Begin math, end math has been changed to begin display math. That is the difference. So we can simply compare the two types of inline and display equations in LaTeX. Using the first syntax, double dollar, this will create the output as below.
Next topic in single line display equation, numbered equations. Here, there is an equation environment is present to code the numbered display equation in single line, begin equation and end equation, and the math content is coded in between them. By default, the counter will be displayed in round brackets at the right end. The second part is display equations, multiple line display equations. There are a lot of math environments are available for typesetting multiple line display equations. Some of the major environments are Equinarray, Align, Align at, FL Align, etc. The most of the math environments are defined inside the package AMS Math by American Mathematical Society. We can simply change a number display equation into unnumbered by adding an asterisk symbol inside the environment name as equation star, Equinarray star, align star, etc. Here, we can check one example with Equinarray environment. You can see the LHS and RHS are separated by ampersand symbol. In the PDF output, you can see the perfection of alignment. Equal signs are perfectly aligned in the PDF output. Double slash is the breaking command to represent the end of an equation line. Here, you can see the first line is without equation number. So we can add slash no number just before the breaking command to suppress the equation counter. Ampersand is used for alignment character. In Equinarray, the maximum number of ampersand can be used is 2. Moving on to the next topic, subscript and superscript. Actually, some of the special characters is used to express the syntax in later. Here, we can easily remember underscore character is used to represent subscript and the hat symbol is used to represent superscript. You can see the several type of sub and superscript. If multiple letters present inside a subscript or superscript, it must be grouped with the curly braces. You can see the third and fourth items are staggered in style, and the fifth and sixth contains multiple sub and superscript terms. The space is used by the command /code and qcode. They are fixed horizontal spaces. Our next topic is case environment. This environment is defined in AMS Math package. You can see the tech code. begin equation star, content, and begin cases. Ampersand is used between equation and condition. You can see the output view very beautifully. The equation and the condition are aligned with the ampersand symbol. Moving on to the next topic, various math alphabets. The first column is the font style in PDF view, and the second column is the font command, and the last column is the required package for generating the output for various math fonts. You can also refer LaTeX Primer for detailed tutorial, Chapter 8, Typesetting Mathematics. Thank you.
There are some questions, I think. How we can embed a template of a particular journal and references in LaTeX.
For embedding journal references, we have another session also. So please wait. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's audible, sir.
Yeah.
We have another session also. A demo of a tail part is also coming.
There's another one, sir. When we convert paper from single column to double column, equations used to overlap. How can I resize them while maintaining the alignment? Rahul sir, I think, has answered to that. Literature. Is there any literature available with all the mathematical commands listed? I think it's available on Google.
Yes, we have also prepared a LaTeX primer. You can use that as a document for creating mathematics, and it is mentioned in the slide presentation also.
Yes, sir. I have put that in the chat box also.
Yes, that is a LaTeX primer. Yeah.
How to write differential equations? There's another question, sir. How to write differential equations?
Differential equation, you can write using a fraction commands and normal equations, fraction d by dx, dx by dy. That's all I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Can we draw electronic circuit diagram using LaTeX?
Yes, using text PGF packages.
Yeah, we have a session on that. How about introducing a flow chart?
Using ticks.
Ticks.
Yeah.
Is there any easy way to convert equations written in math type into LaTeX directly?
Actually, there isn't any easy method. There are some plugins available in Word, or there are some open source software. You can use the Word file, convert it, then you will get a later code. But the conversion is not at all good. It actually depends on how author writes his equation. If it's perfectly written in math type, then it will be converted perfectly.
So the package name is called as docx to tech. So
yeah, it's program.
it's a program. Yeah.
docx to tech.
Yes, TEX.
2 is the number 2, right?
Yes.
Number 2.
So this package is available
It's in GitHub. It's in GitHub.
GitHub. Okay.
Yeah, it is an open source project. So the author is somebody who's named as Martin. It's a company. What was the company's name?
Latex.
Latex, yeah.
LETEX. German company.
Transpect, right? That is the company.
No. Latex is the company.
Yeah.
Can we write chemical reactions using LaTeX?
Yes, chem packages.
Chem package.
Also you can use ticks.
Ticks. For general science and social science, where many equations are not required, we can do Word. What are the advantages of using LaTeX here? For general science and social science.
What is the question?
For general science and social science, there's not much of mathematics. So Word is a convenient word processor. Means
No, there's a confusion there. So what happens is, see, when you want to write mathematics, you need to know more LaTeX than what you would require to when you want to type a simple document like a humanities or social science document. So what advantage of learning LaTeX and then typing that document is because if you want to do cross-referencing, you want to change the formatting of the entire document, you don't even have to worry anything about the format in the document. So that is one advantage that you would find with LaTeX, but which is something that you cannot do with the word processor. So word processing softwares are all about formatting and less about the content. So even when you want to create a heading, you only want to do spacing, you are actually more worried about all those aspects, and each and every single point you have to balance those things. Whereas in a LaTeX document, that does not happen. So learning curve in terms of wanting to do social sciences, these sort of things is very easy. So once you get hold of or start using LaTeX, you will not go back. And this is where online LaTeX tools really help you. And in the coming days, what would happen is, see, we are also working on a tool so that is there in the last phases of development. So once that tool comes, whatever it's again a Vysevic tool. You don't even have to worry about any sort of formatting. You just keep writing your document. It will produce an XML, and from the XML immediately it will produce the PDF, which you generally see in all of your, based on your journal style, whatever styles that you want, it will convert it to that. So that is where the industry is going. So advantage of LaTeX is always there.
There's another question, sir. What is the best package for drawing molecular structure using LaTeX?
VGF.
What is the best package for drawing molecular structure using LaTeX?
Yes, ticks package can be used.
Ticks, huh?
Yes.
I think in this coming sessions,
if you check CTAN, Comprehensive Tech Archive Network, where all these packages are hosted, you can find specific packages to do these things, molecular structure or chemical diagrams instead of ticks. There will be some very good packages available there. We haven't used it yet, but of course you will find it.
Chemfig is
yeah, that Rahul already gave that answer.
Yeah, I think the best place, see, this is a general answer. So in case if you have doubts like this, the best place you can go and find something related to tech is always CTAN. So CTAN is the central repository where you have all tech packages which are combined and produced as part of the TechLive package, in the TechLive CDs or package that you get. So if you go there, there is a beautiful search page. You can search there a lot of things. You would be able to get listings as to who is the author, what are the licensing terms. You can find all those things, and then you can find
Hi,
what is required in your case.
What are the limitations in LaTeX?
Limitations, the learning curve is one limitation, is what you could call. It's not like a document where you open Word and then start immediately typing onto it and you see the output. So you need to know the syntax that you're using in LaTeX, whereas in Word you don't have to learn that syntax. The other difficulty that you find is installing LaTeX, but that difficulty is completely eliminated with the new TechLive packages, where there is a beautiful installer software that does the installation for you, and also online tools are now available, which takes away the complete difficulty of having to install LaTeX, maintain packages, and that sort of work is completely eliminated. So just like how you work with a YCVic software, a lot of features are coming into the LaTeX tools, like the tools that we have. Similarly, those tools are supporting a lot of features, so that takes away most of your difficulty. So that's something that is in a way a
Aravind,
limitation.
yeah, Aravind, actually, in the case of Word, how many of us use all the features of Word? We are using a very minimum basic commands only. There are a lot of features available in Word. Nobody is actually using it. Similarly, LaTeX has a lot of features. There are very advanced features and low-level basic features. And as a beginner, you can start with very basic commands, simple commands. Earlier, it was very difficult to learn LaTeX because you have to install that in your system and you have to you have to install an editor, everything you needed. But currently, there are a lot of online interfaces available, like Overleaf and Techfolio, and that will come, that will follow soon. So it is very easy for a beginner to learn LaTeX. So there is, I would say there is no limitation.
Correct. So other thing is, see, LaTeX at the end of the day is just a text file. So text files have a lot of advantages. Say, if you, for example, if you want to do plagiarism check, it is easily possible within a LaTeX document, but it won't be possible with the Word file. So Word files has a dependency. If you want to understand what is the content in a Word file, definitely you need to open it up in the word processing software. And now with LaTeX, you don't have that limitation. You can still see what is there in the document. Even if say a Word version software, if it is some specific Word files of a specific version will not open in the other version. Those sort of restrictions or limitations are not there with LaTeX. So LaTeX is in a way future ready because it's that simple. Whereas Word or all those things, the data structure that you have, say the data structure that Word uses, if you take away the Word software and try opening the XML in which the data is stored in, you can't even understand head or tail or read anything in it unless you have that software. So you are actually bound to that software. Whereas in LaTeX, you're not bound to that software because it's a text file. Only if you want to produce a PDF, you need to use PDF Tech or CTech or for the matter, any of those compilers.
There's another question from two people, how to start learning LaTeX.
There are websites which give you easy way of how to learn LaTeX. So you can use learnlatex.org. That is one website we would recommend. Other way is, and when you're learning from there, you can use the primer which we have created. The primer starts from basic level and goes to advanced level, so you can use that. And Learn LaTeX also has a lot of tutorials, simple tutorials which explain various environments, how to use them. So and these sort of this training sessions and the documents which each of the presenters have shared, that presentation itself contains information that is required to basically generate simple tech documents. So from that base of a simple document, what you learn within that base document is the same thing that is carried forward to all of the stages. Because if you understand how to debug an error, that same debugging and error is what you will be using in your advanced stages also when you want to write complex stick packages and these sort of things. So that's how you can start.
I don't see any more questions. So I think we'll start the next session, the next presentation. Cross references.
Hi everyone, this is Abhilash from STM Software Engineering Private Limited. Now, let us discuss about the topic cross-reference in LaTeX. Simply, cross-reference is a reference from one part of an article or book, like sections, figures, equations, etc., in another part within the same document. While typesetting research articles, cross-reference is one of the main parts of coding. Sections, figures, equations need to mention in text part. So this can be done systematically with the help of LaTeX. Through label and rough mechanism. With the help of LaTeX, we can simply cross-ref all the counters with label and rough commands. The key must be unique. Same key should not be used for different counters. The key can be keyboard letters like lower and upper alphabets, or numbers, or combination of letters and numbers. But make sure that key contains no commas. LaTeX can produce cross-references with hyperlink, which will bring the exact location in PDF view while clicking on the citations. The most important advantage is resetting the counters. For example, if typesetter wish to add or remove some sections, equations, figures in the document, we need to correct all the citations also. This can be done within a second with the help of LaTeX. Here, let us check an example. Imagine this is section 5 and the section is coded in text as /section, the section title in curly braces. Then we can add a label inside a /label command. Here, the type is section and the counter is 5. So we can simply add the key as sec5. For the citation, use the command /ref and use the exact key which is added inside the label command. When we generate the PDF, it will produce the citation with hyperlink. When we click on the counter, it will bring the exact location in PDF view. See, let us check the process behind the concept. When a successful tech compilation is done, some supporting files will be written in the working directory like filename.aux, filename.log, etc. Here, when we add a label inside /label command, it will write into the file filename.aux as below /new label and the key and some numbers. These are arguments of /new label commands. We can check the details just below. The first argument is the key argument of label, and the number is the actual counter. Here it is 5, and the last number is page number, which the section 5 is in page 6. When we call the key through ref command, the counter will be printed in PDF. Technically, this counter is called current label with hyperlink. In the case of page ref, when we use page ref with the key, the last number will print in PDF view with hyperlink. This is the concept. We can check more examples. Here, section 5 is coded, theorem 3 is coded, equation 1 is coded, and the citations are coded just below it. You can see I have added the label of section 5 as sec5 for the theorem 3, THM3 for the equation EQ1. The keys are very easy to remember while citing the items in text part. You can see the output. 5 is the numbering of section, and 3 is the numbering of theorem, and the 1 is equation counter. You can see all the 3 items are appeared with the hyperlink. Also the page number 9. Our next topic is EQRef. As said earlier, there is a command EQRef is present, like ref. The ref command will generate the actual counter only. But for the citations of equation counters, we can use EQRef instead of ref to generate the parentheses automatically. What will happen when we use an invalid key? If the typesetter added an invalid key by mistake, Tech will throw a warning message in PDF as well as terminal log. Here, the label is given as sec1, but the typesetter used sec_i instead of sec1. When we generate PDF with the citation, it will produce double question mark symbol in PDF view. Also, it will throw a warning message in terminal. Here, reference sec I on page 8 undefined. So, when we finalize the PDF, typesetter can find double question mark in PDF and resolve all the undefined references. Like the label and ref mechanism, we need to cite the reference citations in text part. So, as like label and ref, we have two commands /bibitem and cite for reference citations. The reference entries are included inside the environment, the bibliography as below. Then citations can be coded using /cite key. For example, here a reference is coded after bibitem P1. Here the P1 is the bib label. And use the key inside text part as /cite B1. When we generate PDF, it will produce the citation in square brackets by default. This is a standard style. For more information or for features, we can load VarioRef, HyperRef, CleverRef. These are packages for enhancing features for cross-references. These packages are available in C10. It will produce some features for label and ref. Also, bibitem and cite. Thank you.
In the earlier questions, there was a question related to how you convert math type to LaTeX, right? So just wanted to tell you something more about math type. See, math type is an obsolete program. So this was there initially invented to bring equation editing or equation creation support within Microsoft Word. And later on, Microsoft has moved to something called as an equation editor, and later they dropped support for that and moved completely to something called as new equation editor. So now you have equations which you will see in Microsoft programs, and Microsoft internally it directly uses LaTeX itself. So learning LaTeX will only give you advantages even if you are using the word processing platform like Microsoft Word. And if you are somebody who is into scientific writing, and definitely LaTeX is the best thing that you could do if you learn it. So I've also given a link within the chat page which will give you the references from the Microsoft site itself, how you can use LaTeX within Word documents when it comes to equations. So you can understand how the route that science itself is taking.
I am Siddharthan from STM.
There's a black box appearing in the screen, so you may want to remove that. The chat window is supposed to.
Yeah, it's the question and answer window that I have opened.
Yeah.
There's a question. How to add references? Well, there's a question about a conference entry at in proceedings. There's a empty book title error. It can be ignored.
Actually related to the bibliography part. The next slide is actually demonstrating that tail part, the bibliography part. So sometimes I think the questionnaire will get answered after that session.
Hindi language text in LaTeX. Sir, would you like to answer this? How to embed Hindi language text in LaTeX?
It is possible. So the problem is the PDF text package only works for Latin script. So it's 8-bit ASCII. So that's 8-bit input that it takes. Whereas UTF-8 support is present only in CTEC, XC tech. So that is the compiler that you should use if you want to work with both languages.
XCTech.
Yeah, CTEC. If you look at this window over here on top, on the top section, you can see XCTech, near wiki and the name of Siddhartha. Yeah.
It's XC LaTeX.
Yeah, LaTeX and Tech, yeah.
So I'm starting the next presentation.
Hi all, I am Siddharthan from STM. This video is a demonstration of BibTeX feature in Techfolio Lite. BibTeX is a reference management system for formatting the list of references in a document. BibTeX has two main files associated with it, a .tex file and a bib file. Here, I am opening a .tex file by clicking the File Manager button. Here, you can see the references.tex. Click on the Edit button to open the text file. Now, the file is open. It is a sample content from Wikipedia. As usual, this document is started with the document class command with ELS article class loader. You can see begin document here. Take a special note to the cite commands used, that is /cite along with the label. Here you can see another citation. Here is another one, and one more can be seen here. At the end of the document, you can see two command lines. The first one is /bibliography style command. It is used to load the BST files to process bibliographies. Here, plain BST is used. And the last command, that is /bibliography, is used to load the bib file. Here, the bib file name is references. The associated bib file can be seen in the file manager. Here, you can see the references.bib. Click on the eye icon to open the bib. The reference items are coded here. An @ symbol is used at the beginning of all references to separate each bib items. Look at the first reference, a label. Here, B1 is given and it is cited here in the main part of the document. You can see author field here to code author names. And if more than two authors present, they are separated by an and. Also, you can see that each entries are separated by a comma at the end. Now, moving on to the bib types, this reference is coded as book. A book type is identified by the presence of a publisher. Here, the publisher is Macmillan Publishers. Second one is an article bib item. It is identified by the presence of journal. Here, the journal name is Journal of Economic Perspectives. Third one is also an article. You can see the journal name here. And the last one is a report. It is a technical report. You can see the institution here. Now, close this bib. Now, click on the PDF button to parse article. The output is generated at the right panel of the window. You can see some question marks at the place of citations. To avoid this, run bibcut. Again, press PDF button. Now, you can see the references are listed at the bottom of the document. See, all references are neatly formatted. You can see the journal names are in italics. But still, citations are seen as question marks. This is because a BBL file is associated with it. You can see it in the file manager. This is, see, all references are coded as standard bib items in the BBL file. Now, click on the PDF button once more to compile this BBL file. Now, you can see the citations are appeared in the document. Did you notice that reference 2 is cited here and the reference 1 can be seen here? That is, reference 2 is cited before reference 1. It is because we have used plain BST here. Plain is an alphanumeric BST. That is, the references are sorted by order names. If you want to change it to number 1, change the BST to unsort. See, unsort BST is used without O. UNSRT. That is the BST used. Now, click PDF again. Then run bibtech. Again, click on PDF button 2 times. Now, you can see the reference number 1 is cited on top, and other references are following in the sequential order. And the references are also sorted accordingly in the reference list. Hope that you have got a basic idea of using bibtech in Techfolio Lite. Thank you.
Well, there's a question, is Techfolio Lite website free to use like Overleaf?
So far, we have not released it freely. So that is where in the presentations we were talking about, in case if your institutes are interested in it, then they can be provided to you within your, to be accessed within your institutes. And in the future, we also plan to have a cloud service based model for these things. So the reason we have not yet launched it as a cloud service is because most of your scientific articles are that you're working on are pre-press or that's something that you want to actually keep it confidential within yourselves. So there are always questions of data confidentiality, those sort of things would come into the question. So that is why we have not yet launched it as a service available to everybody, but in the future we plan to do that also. But in case if your institutes or departments are interested, like your say specifically a chemistry department or mathematics department within your institute are interested, then this sort of a setup can be easily provided to you.
Okay, I don't see any further questions.
I think Rishi, that BibTech, I think there's something wrong in it, right? In the questions.
Okay.
And there was a question earlier, right, by Snehalata?
Yeah, about the empty book title.
Is it missing a comma at the end? Is that the reason?
Last line does not need a comma. Is comma.
The last line also needs a comma. After the
Right.
brace, there is no
That
comma needed. I can locate the question.
It's
here.
because the in proceeding environment should have a book title. That's why the warning comes.
Yeah, apart from the title, there should be a book title.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's for this in proceedings.
Yes.
It required a book title also. That's why the message. So since it is a warning, they can ignore it.
Yes. There's another question. How would you compare Techfolio with Overleaf?
The biggest thing that you would see in Overleaf, if we compare it, see, Overleaf is not used by any production houses to produce articles. So that is something that you would find as a major difference between Overleaf and Techfolio. So Techfolio is a tool which is used by people who are working in our production. So each day they churn in thousands of articles through these tools. So these tools are time tested. We are not alone time tested, they are volume tested, and that's not something that Overleaf will be able to manage, I suppose. The kind of articles that we process, if you try processing them in Overleaf, I think it would not be able to generate the required output easily. And kind of macro support and other kinds of additional scripting support that is there in Techfolio will not be there with Overleaf.
Yeah.
And language support.
Yeah.
The editor also. I don't think the Techfolio, you try typing any vernacular language in the Overleaf editor and then try backspacing, then you will see that it is completely failing. And they also have a YCVic mode and an editor mode. But switching between one and the other, it does not work properly for vernacular languages. Maybe it works for Latin alone, but other than that, it's quite difficult to use their editor. And similarly, the file manager is not as powerful as the Techfolio file manager. So the Techfolio file manager is very powerful. So you will get a feel that as though you are working on a desktop environment. You will never have to switch. All the thing that you will need is just a browser window open. You keep compiling tech documents. So on a production floor, that's what happens. Our operators, when they are working on the kind of articles that you are writing, they never have to move away from that particular single web browser screen. So they can completely do their entire production from that one screen itself.
So from Overleaf, you can produce only PDF. But using Techfolio Lite, you can create XML, you can create HTML, you can create MathML, you can create alternate images for the MathML. So not only that, you can check the bibliography with the cross-reference, and you can fetch the equivalent DOIs. And you can create diff HTML for online proofing. A lot of other features are there in Techfolio Lite.
Yeah, Techfolio Lite has additional modules built on top of it. So some of these modules give you the capability of producing XML. Some give you the capability of producing an archive HTML or an EPUB. And see, one thing that Rishi also didn't talk about, Techfolio can actually produce books. It has a multi-tab editor over there. So when you want to produce books will run into thousands of, say, for example, say there are 10, 30 chapters. and there are thousands of pages involved in books. So each chapter has to be compiled, or you make changes within one chapter. How do you compile them completely in one go? So those sort of things, it's quite might be difficult in Overleaf. And other thing is the language support when it comes to Indian languages is very difficult in Overleaf.
Hyphenation, Aravind, you can talk about
Yeah, hyphenation. When it comes to Indian languages, hyphenation support, that's not available in, for example, Overleaf. So the CTEC compiler itself has some limitations when it comes to hyphenation. You have packages like Polyglosia, but when it comes to Indian languages, their support is very limited. So we have our own hyphenation engine within Techfolio, which can generate based on the hyphenation rules, specific hyphenation rules of individual Indian languages, based on the various constructs that are there. If this sort of a word comes in, and not a word, a letter comes in, the shaping should be completely different. So all of that is handled within the Techfolio systems. And font support is,
etc. We can.
yeah, that's again. Font support is quite good in Techfolio. Then again, when it comes to block compilation, say Tech is a compiler. So whatever text you give at it, compiles. So the code that you give at it compiles, produces the output. So if you have a document which is 1,000 pages long, and you want to make a specific change to some block of text within that document, say 10 lines, why do you have to compile the whole document and then produce a result? You can actually block that specified text and then compile. It produces the results only of that specific block. So that's a very key feature that is available in Techfolio. So generally, if you want to compile thousands of pages, a Tech compiler would run for 10 to 15 seconds. In this case, you'll immediately see the results in 1 second. And when you want to complete the whole document together, you can compile in one go. So that's a huge advantage. So
support and collaborative support is actually.
Yeah, collaborative support is also there. It's kind of a limited kind of support which you have in Techfolio. Similar collaborative support is also there in Overleaf, but when it comes to compiling tech documents, collaborative support does not really help. When you're typing a document in Word and you're wanting to do proofing on top of it, then collaborative support helps. So collaboration as such is a jargonized word which is used in the industry by everybody. But when it comes to actually working on collaboratively, I don't think there is any real need for it, other than when you want to use it in Google Docs, when you want to share a sheet with somebody, see what are the changes that they are making, similarly understand what is happening. So that sort of a collaborative support is helpful. Same thing is available in Techfolio also. So you have something called as a share with option. You share the document with somebody, and that person can actually make changes within your document. When they hit compile, the document at your end is also getting reflected. Similar advantage that Techfolio has is you have something called as link sharing option. So the access control is by a username and password. So instead of that, you can have the link shared. So if you are on a publicly accessible server, you can share that link with somebody. If this other person opens that link, they get the same instance as you're getting. And it's actually a different instance of it, but the entire files, everything that you have been compiling are available at their end. They could make changes, hit compile, the results are produced. So same thing reflects at your end also. And next time you want to, so this helps in support or mostly in auto proofing scenario. Then track changes is something that is there in the Neptune system for auto proofing. The track changes that you have in Overleaf are quite different from what we use. Ours is a system that has been used by almost all of the LaTeX authors across the world. Whoever submits articles to Elsevier goes through our system. I don't think Overleaf is used by a publisher to provide service to others like all of you. So that's again the other advantage. So there are thousands of things like this. I can keep going on, but as such, let's say these are the key things.
There's another question. Can we purchase Techfolio personally for rupees 2,000?
You can't purchase it. You will get a service. So it's a service. So there is nothing called as a one-time purchase that you have. So it is a service. It's a subscription model. So if you pay that amount of money, you will be getting it for a fixed period of time. So with once that a period of time gets over, you will have to again subscribe to it. So that sort of a thing can also be provided if there is really interest involved in it. So if there are a number of users who want to say like start using it, then we can offer you a cloud service wherein you can log in, you can compile all of your documents, use it during the subscription term that you subscribe to. So that can be arranged.
Okay. I don't see any further questions. I think the next session will be taken by Rishi, sir. I've made you a presenter, sir.
Okay, thank you. I will share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay.
So if
think
there
I'm
is somebody
perfectly
who
audible, right?
wants to use Techfolio, can just write to us at info@stmdocs.org. We'll respond back to you. If there is real interest, then we'll definitely start a cloud service immediately.
Arvind, can I stop?
Go ahead, Rishi.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone. In this, it's a small demo. I will take only 10 or 15 minutes, and it is not a technical demo as well. So being a typesetter who actually worked in this area for the last 25 years, we always look forward to a manuscript in a typesetter's point of view. So I would like to give some tips to the researchers or the authors who actually submit research articles to publishers, how to quickly get their articles published in journals, and how your proofing process, etc. How can you make it easier? So we have been typesetting for the major international STM publishers for the last 24 years, and we have worked for almost all the prestigious publishers around the globe. Some of them I have listed right on the right-hand side: Elsevier, Institute of Physics, IOP, Cambridge University Press, Nature Publishing Group, POJ, Optical Society, American Institute of Physics, Academic Press. These are a few of the publishers. So moving to the next point, we already have typeset millions of pages of complex research articles for these publishers. Most of them are most complex mathematical papers. And as a typesetter, we are not only typesetting, we are providing project management service to the publishers. So we are talking to the authors on behalf of the publisher. As part of our day-to-day job, our data administrators talking to hundreds of authors on daily. Our next service is we are providing Latex support to many authors. Authors who use our LSAT class or our CAS SCDC class or any other class. If they use LaTeX, if they are in trouble or they want to get any help during the submission stage, they can get back to us. They can contact us through email at lsarticle@stmdocs.in or lsarticle@rivervalley.com. So we are here to help them. The maximum time to get provide an answer is 24 hours, but it is the maximum. It will take only a couple of hours to provide an answer. Then hundreds of pages are uploaded daily to our online LaTeX proofing interface called Neptune. So if an author submits his manuscript in LaTeX, we use this manuscript and we restructure it when we create proof, and we upload his manuscript to Neptune, the online interface, proofing interface. authors log in there and correct their manuscript themselves. They create the PDF, they see the PDF, and they can see how it will get printed. They can finally approve it. So there will not be any surprises after that. So these are actually our day-to-day job. And I'm going to talk about when an author submit a manuscript. Our booking in team is the team who actually find a manuscript when we receive it from a publisher. Their first job is to do a completeness and usability check. So how the manuscript is, is there a problem with the manuscript, some etc. will be checked by the completeness and usability team. So once the manuscript is accepted by the editors and reviewers, it will come to us for typesetting. So it comes to the booking in team, they do the completeness and usability check. So a booking in team member, when he find an archive of manuscript, he expects that archive will contain, if it's a text submission, manuscript text file, a bibliographic database, a PDF generated in author system, and there are figures, of course, figure 1.pdf or figure 2.pdf, n number of figures they can use. Highlights, if there are any research highlights section available, they can provide it. Any supplementary material, MP4 or audio files, etc. These are the normal structure of a submission that the booking in team actually expect from an author. If this is the case, there will not be any much queries to the author. As you can see, it is very clear. There is only one text source. This is the bibliographic database. This is the PDF generated in author system so that our proofing team can use this PDF to compare the proof we generate. So there will not be any surprise if author use any separate custom packages in his system. So we can actually compare it with the proof, whether that customization has appeared in our proof. So this is basically what we expect. But in reality, about 50% of the authors do not provide manuscript like this. They actually provide manuscript like this. You see, manuscript.tech, manuscript.rev.tech, another tech file. So how can we identify which is the latest tech file we should use? We can see manuscript.bib, manuscript.bbl. This is the bibliographic database. This is a byproduct. When we run bibtech on bib database file, a BBL file is generated. Sometimes some authors may edit the BBL file and provide. So we will be confused to which one should we use, whether we should use the BBL file or the bib file. Another bibliographic database is provided. Then figure 1 PDF is given and figure 1.png, another version. Again, figure 2 PDF, it's EPS version, highlights.tech, supplementary material, another supplementary material. So as you can see, you will agree with me. Even if you are going to book in an article like this, you will be confused and you will have a lot of queries. So when we have this, we will put up some queries and contact the author. So in here, you can see no queries at all. But in this case, what happens? We have a lot of queries. So we are asking the author, which is the actual manuscript source. Can we get a PDF generated in your system? We find some differences between the different formats of figures 1 and 2. Please let us know which is to be used. Can we use the manuscript bib instead of BBL? So when we put up some queries and ask you, there starts the lag, the time lag. On that time onwards, there comes a delay in the manuscript publication. So the booking operator confused. He actually takes some time to put up what queries should be asked the author. The clock start ticking. Then it comes to we are sending the query depending on the time zones. Sometimes author will see the query at the same time. Sometimes even after 12 hours, he or she sees the query. So there actually came 12 hours of delay. Sometimes author might have gone for vacation, or she may be traveling. We can see the sources of delays in publication. So if you make it right in the first instance, like you provide a better submission, if you do a better submission, structured submission, you can help speed up your manuscript publication process. You can help the typesetter publisher, you can help the typesetter. Of course, finally, it will be helpful for you. So moving to the next slide. So as a typesetter, I'm actually talking about as a typesetter, not as a publisher or not as a researcher or anybody. I'm talking as a typesetter who actually typeset the research article for a publisher. So what else a typesetter expect when we saw a manuscript for submission? The PDF of the source document available, which is generated in author system, or if the author is actually using any online LaTeX interface like Overleaf, a PDF actually generated in that system must be accompanied with the source files. This is the reference PDF which the typesetter will use. The text file should be structured according to the class file or style files recommended in the author guidelines. Author guidelines is very important thing. If the author guidelines mentions or list out any recommended class files or style files, please try to use that. Then standard LaTeX environment should be used to code the title, author, affiliation, sections, maths, tables, graphics, bibliography, etc. LaTeX is completely a programmable language. Not only that, if a novice who actually start using LaTeX without going to the much details about the LaTeX or without reading the documentations or instructions, they start coding the files. There are so many custom coding for the different environments like title, author, affiliation, sections, maths. Instead of using these templates, they might be coding something like sections, manually adding some spaces, adding the numbers manually, etc. It will look like a section. The PDF, it will look like a section, but actually it is not coded as a section. It shouldn't be done. So if you are submitting a manuscript in LaTeX, you should use the proper templates. All the source files, including graphics, tables, reference database, etc., have been provided without omitting any file. If you are submitting a manuscript, make sure you have submitted everything included in the everything as part of the your research article. Another case is if you use any standard LaTeX package, then you customize it. It's actually available in your system only. You didn't change the name of it. You use it to typeset your manuscript. But if you do not upload that customized macro package along with the the manuscript, what happens is typesetter, without knowing this, he will typeset it. When he compare the proof, he will see there are some changes or differences in the output. So again, he has to come back to you. So if you have changed anything, that package should be accompanied with the manuscript. So normally we will expect there aren't any fancy proprietary fonts used in the graphics or text. If so, we will not be having it. So the fonts will be missed in the output. Instead of that, we will be using some other font and you will not be happy at all. So in order to avoid all these things, you shouldn't be using any fancy or proprietary fonts. If you are using it, you should hand over it to us also and give it the proper license. All the images are in sufficient quality as per the author guidelines. If they say 300 dpi, you should submit in 300 dpi. If it's 600 dpi, it should be in 600 dpi. So otherwise, when we typeset, our artwork team look at they also do this completeness and usability check. In that stage, they will identify the quality of the figure is not good. So they have to come back to you as query. Again, a delay will happen. So in the first time itself, provided in the according to the guideline. So corresponding author is must. Earlier, the proofs are actually sent to the authors via post. When we started typesetting, we got 25 days to send a proof, author proof. But when we reach in 2021, some proofs has to be generated in 24 hours, some in 6 hours, some in 3 days. So that is the workflow it's going. So in order to get the proof to the author, we have to email them. So corresponding author should be properly identified, and his or her email ID should be provided. Another important thing is, as per the class file, if there is an option to identify the given name and surname, that should be done properly, because the author is the best person to identify which is her given name and surname. This is actually an area where most of the people have confusion. So the surname and given names are entirely different, or in the different order for the Western authors and the Chinese, Japanese, Korean authors, or Indian authors, Indian names. So if there is an option in the class file or the template to identify the surname and given name of the authors, please do properly identify it. Next, when you compile a LaTeX file in your system or in the online interface, check the log file and make sure there are no warnings for the undefined citations or undefined labels. Similarly, make sure there are no warnings for the multiply defined labels. Undefined citations, undefined labels means actually Abhilash has given you an overview of the cross references. So there will be sometimes mismatch between the key and the label. In that case, this warning comes, and instead of the counter appearing at the proper location, there will come a question mark. So if it's a 50 or 60 page document, it is very difficult to find out the question mark from the text body portion of the article, but it's very easy to identify from the log file. So check the log, search it, search any undefined, search the string undefined, and make sure there is no undefined citations. So once the completeness and usability check is over, that your manuscript will move on to the next session or the next department for typesetting and copy editing. So in that area, what happens? They will check for citations and references are cross-referred to using the cross-referencing commands. If you are not using the cross-referencing command, they won't get back to you, but they will try to cross-refer it using their own tools. There are so many automated tools to do this cross-referencing, but we cannot guarantee the 100% automation in these cases. For example, bracket 1 can be a list item, list number, or an equation number. The tool cannot easily identify it is an equation number or it is a list number. So a manual intervention is required there. An operator has to intervene there. So in order to avoid these confusions, the first instance, please use the cross-reference command to cross-reference the counters. So there aren't any uncited objects like floats or bibliographic references. Most of the publishers demand there should not be any floats in an article without referring them. Similarly, the bibliographic references. You cannot typeset an article with uncited floats or bibliographic references because it actually comes through an XML workflow. So when we validate the XML, it will not be validated. It will throw a parser, and anyway, that has to be corrected. So again, it will come to you as a query. So all the floats you are using in should be cross-referred, and any bibliography item you are adding it, make sure you cite it properly. Third one, if there are any particular instruction regarding the number of keywords, for example, some journals say 5 keywords should be there, or minimum 2, maximum 5. If that's the case, make sure you adhere to that rule. Sometimes the length of the highlights, it should be 5 bulleted points, and maximum word count should be 150 or 200. Please adhere to that. Otherwise, it will come to you as a query. Instead of correcting it in the later stage, why don't we correct it in the first stage itself? It can avoid unnecessary corrections, unnecessary querying. It will again speed up the publishing process. So another is conflict of interest statement, biography text, and photos. Some are mandatory. In some journals, it is mandatory. Those items are supplied in the first instance. So these are the things that the copy editing team actually expect. So in the proof correction stage, that is, we typeset the proof, we copy edited, we typeset, we paginated, and we send you the proof. We send the proof of your article. So now the ball is in your court. You have to correct it. So what are the challenges there? We can see. As soon as the author receives the link, nowadays PDF is not supplied for checking the proof. Earlier days, PDF was given to you. You add your comments as annotations and send it back to us. We do the corrections again in the source file, create the final proof. Nowadays, it is not the case. We create the proof and we send you the link for online proofing. Authors correct the proof directly in the code, create the PDF, make sure everything has come. So you will get a link actually. Whenever you get a link through mail, in the first instance, please make sure without any delay that link is accessible. Sometimes on that time you will be busy. You will not have the time to complete the proofing session in one go. That's don't worry about it. But as soon as you get the mail, just make sure the link is accessible. Then you can switch it off and you can do that, resume that later. Before starting the proofing in the new interfaces, make sure you understand the features and facilities of the online proofing framework in which you are supposed to do the proofing. Read the instructions and FAQ clearly. It is not just like a disclaimer when you install something in your phone or in your computer, or it is not something like a insurance policy. But it is very vital. The instructions are very important. It will definitely help you to do the proofing work efficiently, quickly, and accurately. So please spare some time to read the instructions and understand what are the features there, then start proofing. Third, some online proofing framework will work in latest version browsers only. If so, before start proofing, please install that. That will be mentioned in the in the mail which you get, or in your instruction page in the proofing framework. Make sure you have the right browser installed. If not, install that first, then start. The proof is checked with utmost care and answer all the queries raised by the typesetter. Multiple correction sources are not supplied. Even if you are provided with a proof link, even if you are provided with a proofing framework, some authors will do like this. They will do all the corrections in the proofing interface. Again, they will add all these corrections in a different document, like readme.txt, corrections.txt, corrections.pdf, corrections.doc file, etc. And after submitting it, they will send them as a mail. So what happens is it's actually multiple document. Our team will receive multiple documents. They will be confused. They will look at the online proofing framework. They will look at all these corrections text, readme, correction PDF, etc. After finally seeing, some others will come and tell us, I have actually added some extra corrections in the corrections.pdf, but you haven't taken care of it. It will come as a feedback or upstream feedback from the publishers, etc. So please don't do that. If you are an author who got a proof link to correct something, use the either use the proof link. If you are not able to use the proof link, you make corrections in the PDF or add your corrections in some document, only one document, and provide it. If you have some another figure, extra figures, multimedia component, etc., please provide it. Shouldn't be given any multiple documents with corrections. Another important thing is make it a habit of checking spam folders of your emails. Sometimes there might be some queries raised by the typesetters through email, and they will go to the spam folders, sometimes which you didn't notice. It will again delay the publishing process. You will not be noticing this for 1 week, 2 weeks until you get a reminder from the publisher. So if you have submitted a manuscript, until it is published, you please make it a habit to check the spam folders. If you are going for vacation or traveling and will not be available for a long period, after you submit your manuscript, inform that to the publisher or the typesetter if you have access to them, so that they will send you the proof after your vacation or before you go for the vacation, so that you can complete the proofing process before you go for the vacation or your travel. If you didn't say so, what happens is they will send you the proof in your vacation time or while you are traveling. You will not be able to access your computer. You will not be able to, you don't have enough time to spare for proofing proofing work. So again, it will delay things. So in order to have the speed of your publication process, please take care of all these points. This is we are actually compiled this document based on our expertise, our 25 years of expertise in this area, where how the publishing process works very quickly, how it get delays, what are the reasons, etc. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Those were very valuable inputs, Rishi.
Thank you, Arvind.
I think we'll move on to the next one.
Ravi, any questions are there? Yeah, there are no questions.
No, sir, no questions, sir.
Okay,
Sure,
thank
let's
you.
go ahead.
Can you present the next video? Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Akshay from HTM, and today I'm here to introduce you to our one-stop web-based software, Techfolio, which can be used for producing complete publisher-specific deliverables. So Techfolio is a complete production system in the cloud that allows the user to generate requirement-specific outputs from LaTeX or XML source files. The outputs can include linked compliant PDFs, formatted XMLs, HTML, HTML, or even a complete ebook file. So this is the Tecfolio interface. The entire interface can be divided into 4 parts. On the leftmost side, we have the file manager with a large number of actions that would assist the user to perform many tasks without leaving the interface. File manager window is retractable, which frees up more space for the other windows. Right next to the file manager, we have the editor window to load and edit various source files. And below the editor, we have the log window, which shows the compilation logs. And finally, on the rightmost corner, we have the PDF viewer, which can be used to view outputs generated from the source files. With this, everyone must have got a basic idea about the layout of Techfolio. Now let us have a look at some of the features of Techfolio. So basically, Techfolio provides a platform for text processing completely in the cloud, eliminating the need for heavy spec offline softwares or advanced system requirements. The main input to Techfolio is the typesetting language tech, which by now I'm sure that everyone here may have a basic idea about it. The process of getting familiarized with the interface is quite simple. Techfolio can be accessed across various platforms, and Techfolio is also integrated with our latex-based proofing system called Neptune, which will be discussed later. The interface is very user-friendly, and there are multiple themes and modes that the user can implement as their preference. There is a hotkey function that allows the user to insert repetitive codes directly into the source. The block compilation feature can be made used for locating and troubleshooting compilation errors. Before going into other features, let us have a look at the PDF generated in Techfolio. This particular PDF is generated based on the client specific requirements. In this slide, you can see the format XML output on the right side. Moving on to other features, as we saw earlier, PDF and XML outputs can be generated from the same text source. Techfolio can perform XML validations against a particular DG. It can also search and check DOI numbers, which is very crucial for certain journals. Techfolio has a search and replace function that supports regular expression or regex. This function is very useful in replacing codes with same patterns. Techfolio also has a bibtex formatter. The search and replace function is very handy while coding in any language. And this function in Techfolio supports regex as well. It also lists the various instances of the matching cases in the section below and also highlights the instances in the source code. If you wish to understand more about regex, then you can check out our video on YouTube in the provided link. So the bibtex formatter is another useful tool available in Techfolio. It allows the user to generate a bibtex database from just the text string. I will demonstrate this at the end of our session. So this is the Techfolio landing page. It is access controlled. So once we enter our credentials, we'll reach the interface. So this is the Techfolio interface. As shown earlier in the same tab, we have our file manager on the left, the text editor next to it, a log window below it, and finally the PDF viewer on the right end. Let me just quickly load a file into the editor. Since a lot of files are listed here, I will just turn on the filter here to list the important files. The other files are just the support files, so we don't need them. And I'll just load this particular file, that is the main.txt file. Once the text file is loaded into the text editor, you can just close the file manager to free up space on the screen. As soon as the source file is loaded into the editor, any PDF associated with the source file will be reviewed in the viewer here. And let me just increase the font size for better readability. So the code is pretty self-explanatory. We code the title inside the title command. We can code the title node inside the tnode command. We can include the author names inside the author command, and so on. Also, the PDF and the source file is synced. Say, for example, I go to the 5th page. And click here and click here. The editor location would move to the same. This action happens both ways. So if I move from a location to another in the editor, say here, and I click there, the PDF will also jump to that particular location. This function can be turned off, not required. Let me just generate a format XML now. For that, I will uncomment the XML class and comment the tech class. We can either use the XML generation shortcut, that is Alt+X, or we also have a button here that can generate the XML from this click. So this is the formatted XML on the viewer window here. And we can also generate the HTML run across this particular XML by clicking here. So this is the HTML render. There are options to change the themes of the editor as well. So this is the one I prefer. I will change it back so that the text is properly visible in the video. Also, the entire theme of the interface can be changed to dark mode. There is also the hotkey functions. This function can be accessed using the keyboard shortcut Control key plus spacebar. So a yellow pop-up opens here, and we can use the hotkey combination to insert particular codes into the source file. One common hotkey that would be useful is this one, 0E. So this particular hotkey inserts the begin equation and equation, or the equation environment, into the source file, and we can type our equations here in this environment. So this one is a useful function for troubleshooting. It's called the block compilation function, and here I can select a particular block of code. I can generate the output of that particular block. This comes in handy when you face a compilation error and you want to generate the output of a particular region and check for errors. So I'll just select this particular block, click on block compilation. Here, generate the PDF and check. So as you can see, the corresponding output of this particular block of code is generated here. The search and replace function can be accessed through here. So I will be including this part of the code here to the search and replace function. So as you can see, the code is already formatted as per regex exceptions. So I can enter the change in the replace area. So if I want to include this particular change throughout the file, I can just click on the apply button here. It will show that there are 11 instances. It will show the current one and the replacement text here. And it will also highlight the particular text. So I will just go to another. So as you can see, these are highlighted in the source also. So if I apply here, so if I click commit here, all the changes will be applied to the source. So that is the search and replace function. I will show the BibTeX format in an example here. I have loaded a text file here with just a string of references. I will compile it once and I will open the BibTeX formatter available here. Once I hit refresh, the formatter will generate a BibTeX database from the text. I have only included a few samples here. But while writing articles, this function would make the task of creating a BibTeX database from scratch a lot easier. With this, we come to the end of the demo. For more information, you can reach us in the given contacts. Thank you.
Sailesh?
Sir, Ravi, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one question. Is it preferable to put all long tables and landscape kind of big images at the end of references?
What does that questionnaire actually mean? This is actually the preference of the journal style. The journal style says everything should be at the end of the document or after the references, they can place it.
Okay. Another question, if anyone has the manuscript ready, but not aware about these typesetting processes, what should he do for submission in a proper format to avoid rejection?
Rejection in the sense, there are so many factors. As a typesetter point of view, we can say you actually follow the guideline, other guidelines, what it says in the submission portal. Like the content wise, I don't know, I'm not capable enough to talk about that. What I would suggest is just go through the submission guideline, other guidelines, and prepare your manuscript accordingly and submit.
How long will it take to practice this tool?
Which tool, the Techfolio tool or?
Maybe LaTeX.
Yeah, LaTeX from 10 minutes to maybe years and years.
Yeah,
according to their.
it's a learning curve.
So if you want to just start with within 10 minutes, you will be able to produce a document. And what I would say is don't try learning tech completely and then starting with it. You learn very simple things in tech. You produce your document. When you're getting stuck, find out what are what is the environment that you're using and what is the thing that you really want to do. Copy some code snippets of it, try placing them within your document or within a different document and compile it, a small chunk of it, and then repaste it back into your original document. So like that, you will be able to improve your document. And look at examples. So mostly all of the things that you want to do will be there in the example files or templates which are shared by the publisher. So that itself will have a lot of examples for you. Mostly the ELSE article submission guidelines, the examples provided there will be more than enough.
Arvind, everyone is actually looking to LaTeX from a long distance. They are actually not approaching it. They are not trying or taking
Correct.
any 10 minutes time to read the documentation, how to start with. I'm actually a commerce graduate. I learned tech in 1996. Once I joined this company, nobody taught me tech. And none of us who actually presented here, they won't get any training from any company or anywhere else. They learn themselves. It's actually a matter of a 1 hour thing.
And the other thing is all of the people who are presenting there in this particular session are not people who are say who come from very big academic graduates or PhD holders, or it's not like that. All of us are from very modest backgrounds. We have started learning LaTeX by ourselves, and that's how we have actually got into the companies, to come work with the company, and over years we have mastered it. So the mastering is something is what, even if you're using Word, you will not be able to use Word properly until and unless you get into a lot of things which are involved in Word. So only if you use the specific functionalities, you will learn it. Otherwise, I would say anybody who is there using Word only really requires a normal, what do you say, not Word, the other tool that is there, what is it called? The basic version of Word, right? Not InDesign. There is a default program which comes, a rich text viewer, which is there in Word itself, in Microsoft. I can't remember the program. That's all that is required for any kind of documentation that is in people use. And the other functionalities that you have in Word, nobody seldom uses it. Say table of contents is something that most people will not even use what you have in Word. They'll be actually typing 1, 2, 3 and then producing it. Word also has beautiful tools in it. And if you're using all those tools and producing it, in case if the typesetter is also using a program to convert it, the conversion would be proper. Otherwise, it's a big headache. So each tool has its learning curve. People who master it gain an advantage with it, and people who are in writing scientific articles, who are into scientific research, for them the best tool or the best thing that they can learn is LaTeX.
Tables are inserted as input command or as separate text file. Both can be done. Is any translation possible? Translation is being done by Google Translate.
So this is Rahul. Am I audible? Hello.
Rahul,
Yeah, okay. So one point I have to emphasize is the universities should come forward to teach LaTeX to the students. I am a mathematics graduate, and in 2013, Kerala University implemented LaTeX learning LaTeX as a paper in Department of Mathematics. So that made us more visible to the LaTeX community. So universities should come forward to teach LaTeX and should emphasize they should submit their projects or in LaTeX.
Correct. From degree level itself, if people are taught LaTeX, at least the basic skills that are required in LaTeX will be learned. And when they want to submit theses or research articles, they can use the tool and produce it. So that is one place where you can ask students to learn LaTeX, because they definitely need to pass or get their grades and go out of it. But when it comes into universities and so on, it's a different environment itself. At that point, if you're asking somebody to learn, whether they learn forcefully or not is something that you cannot guarantee. But when you're in colleges, that is something that can be done. So that is what Rahul is talking about. In Kerala University, this is part of their curriculum itself. So they are forced to learn it. And because they are forced to learn it, it gives them an advantage over others. And this has happened only because of a professor called as E. Krishnan, sir. So he is the one who actually contributed to this, and then finally mathematics department took up LaTeX and started teaching students.
Okay, so I don't see any further questions. There was another question about a graphical abstract, and it was answered by Apur. So I think we can move on to the next presentation.
In this session, we'll be discussing about the Neptune proofing tool and its features. My colleagues have already talked about the LaTeX and its advantages in typesetting and article publishing. Proofreading or proofing is a crucial stage in publishing. Neptune is a web-based proofing framework for LaTeX authors. It was launched in November 2018. In Neptune, authors get full access to their source code because the input is a LaTeX file. They can make corrections in the source code according to their requirements and view the changes in the PDF side by side. All the latest web browsers are supported by Neptune. So the journal production stages goes something like this. So once a particular article is submitted for publication, it undergoes a peer review, and then it is typeset as per the journal style. Then it gets copy edited, and a proof is generated, which is sent to the author through Neptune. Author checks the proof, does any corrections, and verifies the output and submits the article so that it will move to the next stage of production. And in this stage, artwork correction or any other commented corrections from the author are taken care of, and the article is finalized. One of the crucial stages in the publishing of an article is the proofing stage. Most of the proofing systems available now are based on HTML rendering, where an XML file is used to render the output, and the author has to mark corrections in the HTML page. They have no idea how the final output will appear, hence authors request for revised proof after doing the corrections. So I mentioned this is a crucial stage because if the author misses something in this stage and the article gets published, then to include the correction again is a tedious process. For LaTeX authors, this is a very difficult process since they know how to correct the source code to get the required output, but they are unable to do so. But in case of Neptune, input is a LaTeX file, and it provides a wide variety of features that helps the author to complete the proofing process smoothly. So here is a simplified workflow diagram. So from the author's LaTeX source file, it is structured and style corrections are performed on this particular source file through our earlier mentioned Techfolio software, and the proof is sent to the author via Neptune, and author can submit their corrections through Neptune, and this submitted corrections are received in the next stage, that is called the master copying stage. And here, any additional corrections or artwork corrections can be performed, and the final deliveries are generated from this stage. So this is the landing page. So this is how the landing page of the Neptune proofing tool appears. The journal logo will appear here, and the other details and the article details and the copyright information everything will appear here. And there is also a user manual and a help video and also the author guide. And once the author clicks the resume or the proceed button, they can proceed to the interface. So this is how the interface of the Neptune proofing system looks. It might look similar to the Techfolio interface, but there are a wide variety of features here to assist the authors with the proofing process. So I'll explain the features here with a live demo. So I'm now accessing the Neptune interface for a particular article. The most significant feature will be the freedom to edit the source code and view the changes then and there. Others can make changes in the text editor, then compile the text, view the changes in the PDF viewer. So this is the editor and this is the PDF viewer. There is an ignore compilation mode to bypass minor errors so that the authors can proceed without worrying about the error. Large edits for figures, tables, and equations can also be made. Each generated output PDF will have the respective journal housing styles, and the output the author sees will be the same that of the final publishing version. This PDF can be downloaded here as well. A functional tracker is available to track all the edits made in the source file. This makes it easy for the author to keep tabs on the process. The tracker also records changes in the table of contents, figures, tables, and notes. It is seen quite often that the number of pages for a single article may exceed more than 100 pages. While reading the PDF, if the author wishes to perform an edit in the source code, instead of looking through thousands of lines of code, they can simply click on the PDF and the editor will navigate to the respective region in the source code. This is a similar feature that is also available in the Techfolio. So if I want to go to this particular equation, I just have to click here and it will navigate to this particular region in the source file. There is also a query panel here, which acts as a channel of communication between the typesetters and the authors. The typesetters can post their queries here, and the authors can verify and give responses accordingly. There is also a source comparison window in which author can track all the changes in the source code. And in the PDF comparison window, the PDF can be compared side by side. All the PDF viewers provide a vertical scroll option. Neptune has a horizontal scroll option, which allows the user to compare different pages side by side and check for pagination errors. If the author finds it difficult to make certain edits, they can add notes in the source code or add comments. These comments will be implemented by the production team. The notes can be added simply by clicking on the note icon here. So I'm entering a test note here. So once I click comment, it will add a note like this. Other note. This will be listed under the notes, and the production team will include any and all comments mentioned under other notes. Others can also add additional comments here. So I have included an example here to change the figure size. Others can include comments which they are unable to perform. The search and replace function is also available, which allows to make multiple edits together. Function also supports regular expression. The generated PDF output has hyperlinks and bookmarks that can be accessed with a simple click. Others can also upload new figures or any additional materials through the upload wizard. Any themes are also available, which the user can select according to their preference. We also provide 24/7 support for Neptune users facing any difficulties. These features were developed based on the feedback from various authors around the world. One of the major publishers in the world have accepted Neptune as their LaTeX proofing solution. They're planning to roll out more and more journals to Neptune. From November 2018 to until now, we have processed more than 20,000 LaTeX articles, and they have been proved out through Neptune. Neptune obtained a CSAT score of 95%. Authors have accepted the functionalities Neptune provides. The survey shows that the utilization rate of Neptune functionalities is 98%. I have included a couple of slides with appreciations from various authors around the world. With these, I conclude my session. Thank you.
Vineet sir, would it be possible for you to play the Techfolio Lite presentation, the demo alone for Techfolio Lite? Because in the morning, no, I think nobody was able to see that at all.
Tecfolio, what was the number? Ravi, can you see that?
I think it should have been the second presentation.
02.
Yeah, TF
Yeah, correct. TF Lite.
Hello everybody, I am Apu. In this presentation, I will introduce and give a walkthrough
Thank you, Ravi.
Folio
Thank you
Lite,
very much.
a web-based LaTeX authoring tool developed by STM Software. Hello everybody, I am Apu. In this presentation, I will introduce and give a walkthrough of Tecfolio Lite, a web-based LaTeX authoring tool developed by STM Software Engineering Private Limited. LaTeX is a document preparation system for high-quality typesetting. It is widely used by authors for creating technical or scientific documents, but can be used for almost any form of typesetting. Many universities and scientific journal publishers prefer manuscripts generated using LaTeX due to their quality and aesthetics, particularly in mathematics typesetting.
LaTeX is free to use and is actively developed and maintained by a dedicated community. LaTeX is not a what you see is what you get document preparation system. Users compile their manuscripts using command line executables to generate the documents. Installing and maintaining a LaTeX distribution in a computer requires skills above the novice level computer users. These hurdles play a major role in the widespread adoption of LaTeX. Others in new generation who are used to WYSIWYG editors find LaTeX difficult to use and prefer other typesetting systems like Microsoft Word, overlooking the advantages of LaTeX. To make LaTeX more accessible to wide range of users, graphical user interfaces were developed. These desktop solutions brought a WYSIWYG-like editing experience, and users can generate documents directly from these tools without executing command line commands. TeXworks, TeXstudio are popular LaTeX editors available for desktop computers, but these tools require a LaTeX distribution installed in user's computer. Once the internet became widely accessible, cloud-based LaTeX editors were developed. With these cloud-based systems, there is no need for user to keep a local installation of TeX distribution. Client devices only need a modern web browser to access these services. They work in all operating systems and work in compact portable devices like tablets also. Overleaf, Fourier, and LaTeX Base are popular cloud-based LaTeX editors. Techfolio Lite is a cloud LaTeX document preparation system developed by STM Software Engineering Private Limited. Unlike the other services I mentioned earlier, Techfolio Lite is not a publicly accessible service. It will be provided as an on-premise service installed in a local server instance provided by the customer. The service will be only accessible within the local network or among the authorized users of the organization. Techfolio Lite service is targeted at two types of customers: universities, academic institutions, and self-publishing authors. Universities and institutions accept authors to meet certain standards for the documents they prepare for submission. But with authors using different tools for preparing documents, it is difficult to maintain these quality requirements. An ideal solution will be to provide a tailor-made centralized authoring tool which can be used by authors to prepare documents. A service like Techfolio Lite will be a cost-effective way to generate training, thesis, and project documents in the desired template and with organization branding. Universities and departments that run academic journals can use Techfolio Lite for manuscript submission, editing, and reviewing processes. In recent years, self-publishing has become a big deal. Techfolio Lite is a very modular framework. It can be enhanced to a lightweight publishing system which can generate HTML EPUB formats along with PDF documents. This will be very attractive to self-publishing authors as a cost-effective home-based publishing system. This diagram describes the system overview and configuration of Techfolio Lite. Techfolio Lite in its basic configuration consists of a server running full TechLive installation and a Techfolio Lite backend framework. In this configuration, the web-based interface acts as an authoring tool for generating PDF documents. With backend add-ons for custom LaTeX templates, HTML and EPUB generation enhances the Techfolio framework into a lightweight publishing system. In this configuration, users will be able to generate PDF, XML, HTML, and EPUB. In this presentation, we will be demonstrating the use of Techfolio Lite as an authoring tool. This is the user interface of Techfolio Lite. The interface is simple, clutter-free, and have a user-friendly layout. Four main parts of the interface are File Manager, Text Editor, Log Viewer, and Document Viewer. Intuitive button and menu placements make document generation process very easy. Now let's look at some technical details and key features of Techfolio Lite. Techfolio Lite uses Wildfly and Wadi, open source frameworks for web application development. This robust framework provides a very reliable server backend.
Sir, I think I can skip some to the demo directly.
Highly configurable and fast JavaScript text editor. It also supports multi-year for the user.
So do we stop video or do we skip it?
You can skip to where the demo starts, where the interface is shown.
Authenticated users.
Yeah, you can go slightly forward again.
Right next to the compiler selector.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Ravi, I think we can skip to where the demo starts. Our demo starting now?
Yeah, this is a demo.
Thank you.
Shine the dark theme more easier on the eyes. Finally, the logout button is on the right, which allows users to log out from the interface. Now we will look at the file manager. The file manager features a slide out sidebar design. This hides the file manager when it is not in use and gives more space for the editor and the document viewer in the interface. Tabs on top of the file manager allow switching between CLaTeX and PDF text compilers. The support tab allows access to the Techfolio home directories of other users. The current user is a privileged user. These privileged users can provide technical or editorial support to other users using the support tab. The toolbox icon expands to a drop-down menu with commonly used actions in the file manager. The toolbar also contains buttons in the common actions like upload, download, copy, paste, create, and delete files. Now let us upload two files from the local device and extract them in the file manager. The right-click context menu contains actions similar to the context menu of the desktop operating system's file managers. We can extract the zip file here. Search feature helps to find files in the working directory easily. You can use wildcard file names for searching. The breadcrumbs navigations above the file list helps in switching to parent directories easily. Now let's check the text editor. From the file manager, go to the folder containing the manuscript files. Double-click on the manuscript file to load it into the text editor. Editor supports editing multiple files simultaneously by opening files in tabs. Above the tabs, you can find search and replacement buttons. You can use regex patterns for searching also. Undo and redo buttons do what as the name suggests. There are keyboard shortcuts for these actions as well. You can switch the theme of the editor area here. Editor supports syntax highlighting. Font size can also be adjusted using this drop down. The editor supports multilingual text entry. Changes made in the text editor are instantaneously synced with the Techfolio server and saved. No manual saving action is required. Here we will have a look at the log viewer. The log viewer is placed below the text editor. By default, the log viewer displays a summary of the document compilation log. If there are any errors, these errors will be highlighted in the summary view. There is a search facility in the log viewer. This helps in locating and fixing errors in LaTeX manuscripts easily. Text log button on top of the log viewer area displays the full text log file. You can view the auxiliary files also. If XML generation is enabled in Techfolio Lake, you can view the parse errors in XML as well. The buttons for document generation are in the action panel. It is placed above the editor frame. The PDF button generates PDF from the manuscript text file, and the output PDF immediately appears on the document viewer. I will show XML HTML buttons in action when I show a demo of a book project. The toolbox lists menus for index and bibliography generation. When you click the PDF button, bibliography will generate from the big file loaded in the manuscript. So manual creating of bibliography is not necessary unless some errors occur while PDF compilation. Changes made in text file are saved automatically, but if you want to make sure, you can click the Save button. The version control system allows saving revisions of the document for accessing later. Here, I committed version 1 of the document. Now the document I am editing is version 2. I can check out the older revision V1 from the version control system. The versions are listed in the chronological order in the checkout window. Now we will have a look at the document viewer. It is an all-in-one document viewer which supports PDF, XML, and HTML documents. By default, the generated PDF loads in the advanced PDF viewer. This PDF viewer supports hyperlinks, bookmarks, search, page zooming and zooming out, etc. You can resize the viewer window. A simple image-based PDF viewer is also available. You can switch between the document viewers using the buttons placed above the viewer area. The image-based viewer supports page zooming and zooming out, but hyperlinks, bookmarks, will not work in this viewer. The proof view mode allows side-by-side comparison between the current PDF and an old revision of or proof correction marked PDF. This view mode helps in incorporating corrections in the latest manuscript easily. Now I have loaded a book project in Tecfolio Lite. This instance of Tecfolio Lite is configured for book projects with custom LaTeX packages and add-ons for PDF, XML, and HTML outputs. You can see the generated PDF of the book in the PDF viewer. Clicking the XML button will generate an XML. Here we configure Tecfolio Lite to generate an XML using NLM DTD. Other DTDs can be used with Tecfolio Lite. The created XML loads in the document viewer. If there are any parse errors, they will be listed in the log viewer. Here we have no errors. You can search in the XML viewer. The HTML button generates an HTML version of the document from the generated XML. Here you can see an HTML document in the document viewer. The layout of the HTML can be changed as per the customer requirements. The EPUB button, if configured, will generate an EPUB version of the document. We can switch between different document outputs using the buttons above the document viewer. There are some special features in Tecfolio Lite for book projects. Typical LaTeX book project has a main hub file or main file in which all individual chapters text files are included. In this example, the hub file is example.tech. To create book PDF, we compile the hub file. Here I have opened a few chapters of the book in editor tabs. You can see switching between text files is very easy with this editors tab. To make book workflow more easier, File Manager has a set as book button. We can enter the hub or main file's name in the text field, and then we can edit individual chapters in the editor and generate PDF by clicking the PDF button without switching to the hub file every time. The bookmarks panel helps navigating to the book chapters quickly.
I think somebody asked about using vernacular languages. You can see Malayalam also there within the document.
Automatic hyphenation for Latin text. For non-Latin languages like Malayalam, there is no hyphenation support. Fourier Lite's hyphenation system finds all non-Latin text in manuscript files and generates hyphenation pattern and saves to a file. This file can be included in the hub file to get hyphenated text in the PDF. Now let's briefly have a look at the successful implementation of Techfolio Lite. Sayana Foundation, a non-profit organization from Kerala, uses either an instance of Techfolio Lite for generating PDFs and XMLs for Malayalam literature digitization and archiving process. This is a screenshot of the interface of without typesetting a Malayalam book. Most of the volunteers of Sayana Foundations are not familiar with LaTeX, but with the help of either, they were able to create high-quality PDFs and HTMLs for Malayalam books. So that completes a quick overview and walkthrough of Techfolio Lite. Thank you all.
See many questions. Translation, software. There's a question about translation. Is there any translation software or app?
Translation, definitely you'll have to use some sort of tools like Google Translate. But if you're using a latex source, the text is, since it is text, you can be able to easily copy it and then get it translated. So you'll have to translate and then transfer it back into the other document and then compile. That's the only thing that you can do. So just like, even if it is a Word file also, you can do that.
Yeah, I think yeah, both the sessions were very informative, and we got quite a few things which we didn't knew that the system, publishing system, can be made so reliable.
So in Kerala, there's something called as the Kaladi Sanskrit University already has a journal which is there in Malayalam
Okay.
called Chennai. Yeah, it's called as Chennai.
This is university there. Okay. Participants, if you have any questions, you can still raise.
No further questions, sir.
Yeah. I think Dr. Bharat also has joined us now. Mr. Rishi, Dr. Ravi is my colleague in my department.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Dr. Bharat Gupta, he is the chief investigator of AICT Academy and NIT Patna. We have all together.
Hello. Thank you for both for providing all these assistance. All these session went very well. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
No, I think this is, yeah, Bharat, please.
Yeah, we are really very thankful that you have given this whole engrossed lecture since morning till evening with your team. And I hope the participants are fully getting benefited with that. And we are really thankful. Thank you so much from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we heartily thank you, Mr. Rishi, for coordination and whole of your team for their such a dedicated demonstration for that a system we didn't knew that existed. I came to know about this about 2 years back when your team has come here. And I should say that we are all proud of the system which exists in, and you have actually erected it in the way. River Valley, I came to know 2 years back when my manuscript was directed from Manuscript Central by IET to a new system called River Valley Support. I think it was you. I didn't know that it existed in right here in our country.
Okay.
So nice to learn that, and we are really proud of that system you have created. And thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for providing us this opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajagopal ji. Thanks a lot. Keep your blessings for us. Mr. Rishi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rahul, Siddharthan, Arvind, Apu, Akshay, Abhilash. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
So we'll end this session now, and tomorrow morning at 10:45 we'll rejoin again.
10:45, 10:30 I have kept it now because we need to make those people join Canvas actually. On Canvas, I have made the link to this all complete video on the Google Drive, so they can get it. I also created a page where multiple links are there for primer and other kind of thing. They can get it. Bharat, how to solve that problem, yaar?
Which one, sir?
Canvas पे अभी भी 116 लोग ज्वाइन नहीं है, तो या तो हम प्रॉक्टर लेवल पे हम उनको कुछ दोबारा कहें सबको.
What I did, I have collected all the names from the who are belong to NIT Patna, and forwarded, asked my proctor coordinator personally to follow up that. So
okay, so I will do it from my side.
But
and
for
I
the
don't
others,
know how
it's
many
very difficult.
other
Because
विजय गुप्ता जी का मेल आया था.
अच्छा.
तो उनको मैंने फिर सजेस्ट किया कि प्रॉक्टर कोऑर्डिनेटर्स के थ्रू हम हैंड होल्डिंग कर सकते हैं. From my side also, I will mail all my participants to join Canvas.
Because
Canvas से हमें पता नहीं पड़ता कि पेंडिंग कौन है, मतलब दिखता है but we cannot have a data.
Okay, हाँ नहीं डेटा वैसे नहीं मिलता सर. What I did, I personally went to the whole list one by one, and then I collected the names with my whole registration link, and that way some I missed because the numbers were there, and which I could not recognize that who are they.
नंबर आईडी वो पुराने अकाउंट्स का है, नए अकाउंट तो हमने ईमेल से ही बनाया.
हाँ,
बट कुछ पुराने अकाउंट का अपने आप लेता है, तो हमें वहां पे क्लिक करना पड़ता है कि उसकी ईमेल आईडी ही बनाए. वो 4-5 ऑप्शन देता है.
हाँ, जैसे I can see one number is there, but I'm not able to recognize. I'm not able to get any information from.
हाँ, वो हमें वहीं पे करना पड़ता है जब we create the account ना.
Yes, sir. Actually, there is a one this person Kalpana. Actually, she mailed me, and she has clicked the invitation, and after that there is just asking some password, the code for this. So I said there is no requirement. You just do forget password, and
she has to reset password.
Because we have already with this invitation we have created the their this room for them.
Invitation is a direct authorization for their joining.
Yes,
that's true. That is by the email. Actually, email se.
Correct. So still I can see some of the participants from NIT Patna, they have not done it. So again, I will collect the names, and specifically I will ask to my coordinators to help them.
Okay, I will also do on my side and mail all CIs to take care of their own.
Because here we cannot find out extract the data, like those who are pending, we have to go through one by one. That way I did it last time, because last time I found 30 people have not registered. 34 people have not registered. So I think now I can see there is a less number of participants are there. Those who have not.
I think I will mail all of them. Other than मैं search करूँ मैं सबको mail.
That's better, sir.
To ensure that they are.
And that is one more thing, like what I've seen, like maximum we are reaching to 500, not more than that.
People, I think those who have not joined Canvas, possibly they are not in the WebEx also. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है. They have forgotten to take care.
Even sir, ICT tool, what I found, around like 10, 30 or 40 participants who have paid the registration fees, they didn't turn up in the single day. I mean, since the last March we did this ICT. So there are a lot of people like who didn't turn up.
नहीं कुछ तो देखो कुछ personal constraint हो जाते होंगे, like he is not that time he thought he will be free, now he is not free. Due to some personal, professional or personal front पे कुछ constraint आ गए. So for some it is expected कि वो जितना कर सकते हैं उतना करेंगे. बाकी तो फिर it is up to them. We are just giving a quality kind of thing. ये तो उनके ऊपर है उन्हें क्या करना है.
So I think
anyway, this group is very good. ये लोग